The Association of Teaching Artists is the oldest organization serving teaching artists in the United States. The ATA Awards were established in 2002. They were the first in the nation to recognize artist educators. Last year, ATA expanded the awards to include the Innovation in Teaching Artistry Award and the Teaching Artist Ally Award. The awards seek to raise the visibility of teaching artists in the arts and education field and with the organizations and institutions for which they work.
You've got a body like me. You've got a body like you. And you've got a brain and a stomach and a heart. So shake 'em all around. Yeah, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it all around. Yeah, shake it.
Welcome to Teaching Artistry with Courtney J. Body. That's me. This is a podcast that celebrates artists and advocates for community engagement. And like you, I'm home and looking for ways to connect as best I can. And so we've launched a video series of the podcast called #Keep Making Art.
You know, our planet is under a very serious threat right now, but you know, we're surviving, soon to be thriving, hopefully, on the other side of this.
Beautifully woven. The arts are in trauma-informed practices, culturally responsive practices, which is what we need to do. And yet we know for a fact that when there is budget cuts, what is the first thing that they cut?
It's the arts, always.
Right?
I think it's because you can't measure a job related to the arts directly, you know? When you don't see how what you learn in kindergarten, studying like shapes and coloring in the lines, translates to when giving a speech and categorizing your speech, or in a boardroom talking about different elements and painting visually and theoretically a picture for the rest of the employees and board of directors to see. There's not that direct correlation.
That feeling, that sense of freedom, you know, like Nina Simone says, you know, freedom is no fear. Comes from the experience, the arts experience. And I do arts education for that reason. And I want to help artists and young people kind of like build the skills to have no fear, to think critically, to ask questions. And when the schools closed and we were told we couldn't continue our work remotely, I was devastated. I felt like, you know, this is when we need them. These kids need it the most, you know, recreating the school day without this element, because it's not normal, it's not the regular world, is it's something we should be shouting from the rooftops.
Learning how to create in a different way, and I'm finding these other parts of my creative toolbox, so to speak, that I'm tapping into that I guess I never really thought of before.
You are featured as on the monthly podcast this month, where there's 2 acts of you and me chatting last summer after you had received an award from Association of Teaching Artists.
I think the award really was a interesting moment for me, because it gave me more confidence in what I was doing. Like, okay, maybe I'm on the right path with this, you know, just to be recognized for the work that I've been doing. And just because I've kind of been doing it my own way and having fun with it, that I was like, okay, this is working.
Shake it all around. You've got something. What do you have? Oh yeah, you've got eyes to see. That you and I are different, and you've got a mind to know that we are both the same, and you've got dreams to fill. My name is Harold Simmons, aka Fuge.
My name is Yelimara Concepcion Santos. I'm a cultural worker and dance movement therapist.
It's Mike Pacheco, the legendary MIC. I am a teaching artist at DreamYard.
I teach music production and poetry classes.
As a teaching artist in DreamYard, I have the freedom to share my own cultural practice, bomba, from the island of Puerto Rico.
I am a teaching artist because I feel it's important to share the skills and the talents that I have amassed over my career as an artist, and I also feel it's important to teach with perspective, to put a social justice lens on the work that we do and the art that we make.
To build character, to connect with their story of resistance, and to encourage pride in who we are as Black and brown people.
I'm a big kid at heart, as you can see. I'm allowed to bring that into the classroom. It's a great way for me to be reminded of the community that I'm serving. If I was a kid, how would I want to receive this information?
I think it's so important that we are from the community and we identify with the kids.
Every year they do a poetry slam. You have your art, you have your poem that you've written that's usually based upon your own life experience. So the students are telling their story, and then they're expressing it in this unique way with their youthful energy.
I love my teaching artist because she never gives up on us. She encourages us children to think, develop skills, and confidence as we grow.
When you find the right job that suits your personality, you embrace it, and that's what happened to me. I absolutely love what I do because of DreamYard.
Poetry was amazing. I just say thank you to this day. Here's my little sister. I hope that she could have the same opportunities that I did in the Poetry Slam.
Congratulations, DreamYard, on winning this award. Much deserved. I can't wait to see what you all do with the next 20, 25 years.
The Innovation in Teaching Artistry Award, given to a teaching artist making innovative and powerful contributions to the field of teaching artistry.
I have my uncle. I mean, that's kind of my biggest male influence. He sells drugs. Everything he do is wrong. I got the aspect as, I can't do shit. I'm gonna be a statistic.
Hey, thanks for sharing that. He who conceals his disease cannot expect to be cured. What we attempt to do is recreate the temple of Asclepius. Instead of chanting, we drum. Instead of healing through dreams, we heal through the myths.
That journey to another place, long, long ago.
I've never been able to just be a normal kid growing up. And hearing the white snake myth, I felt like that was me.
You're coming out of your comfort zone, completely new person.
And all of a sudden, the bottom fell out and they fell into a hole.
Either he had a death wish or he was running an experiment on how fast a black man would turn his car around when angry.
I threatened a kid. I just took it real far a couple times. There's times where I wouldn't say anything.
If you meet any college athlete, ask them just out the blue, if football stopped, what would you do? This ain't right. This ain't, oh, no, hold on, man, I got some stuff to say, dog.
They talk about the black male code, and that's still real. My hat's down, I turn it backwards so they see my face.
Other people's low expectations gives me something to push against, makes me try harder.
You have been prepared to face this monster that you're running into now. I hope you don't think you wasn't supposed to face it.
Alchemy really exposes to the young men in the group our worth, our value within society. We were working with the 7th grader boys the other day and seeing them identify some of the things in the myth. It's just something that so many people don't have.
These myths, I can see it in myself. They're embedded in my thinking.
How can we show people that we are the heroes?
Kwame Scruggs from Akron, Ohio. In my study of myth, I found that it's a common theme in myth, and if it's a common theme in myth, chances are it's a common theme in life, that the hero never accomplishes their task alone. They always have assistance from some guide or some mentor. They say that Only you alone can do it, but you cannot do it alone. So I want to begin by thanking the Creator and the ancestors for the abundance of blessings they have bestowed upon me. I want to thank my mother and father, who will be 94 and 92 here within a month, for all the sacrifices they made, which allowed me to sit here today. Thank my two sisters, Beth and Jan, for always being there for me and for putting up with me. Thank Sabrina for putting up with me for all the years she did. And thank Imani, my son, our son, for putting up with me. Thank my two best friends, Cedric and Tobias, for always being there for a brother. Thank David, Deborah, Dawn, Susan for always lending an ear. I want to thank my board, my staff, and the youth of Alchemy, because here again, without you, I wouldn't be sitting here. I would thank the Knight Foundation for giving us our start back in 2004 with Mrs. Neal and Carla. Thank the City of Akron, Akron Public Schools, GAR Foundation. A special thank you to the Calliopeia Foundation. Obviously, you know, sitting here today because of the Association of Teaching Artists and the Innovation Award. So when I received the message, it was so timely because I wasn't having a good day. And that's another common theme in myth, is just like when the hero getting ready to give up, someone comes in and rescues the day. So they did that for me. You did that for me, so I really appreciate it. This is not something that I take for granted. When I looked up the word innovation, obviously I knew what innovation, meant, but I wanted to see the root word. And innovation means to bring forth something new. But then the root word is a Latin root, which means to renew. So if you're renewing something, it's not new. So it's like a remix. So I thought that was so cool because it was like a both and. So here again, this is not something I take for granted. Wanted to leave you with a little something inspirational. It was when I was 38 years old. I was reading Joseph Campbell's Power of Myth, and it was his one sentence. He said, when you follow your bliss, doors open where you thought there'd be no doors. And I asked myself, what is my bliss? What is it that I want to do, not what could I do? And I said, my exact words were, I want to play my drum and tell mythological stories. And I remember people saying, thinking I was crazy, like, who's going to pay you to do that? Yet here we sit. So I say that to say, whatever dreams you have, go for it. Go for it. Follow your bliss. They say that the people, for those who were seen dancing, were thought to be crazy by those of whom could not hear the music. So follow your bliss and go do what it is you want to do. So here again, thank you very much to the Association of Teaching Artists for this Innovation Award. It will be something that I will hold dearly, and it'll be the gift that will keep on giving. So sincerely, thank you.
I often work with third graders in Chicago who already have a working knowledge of street gang culture as early as 8 and 9 years old. That knowledge informs the colors they choose when we are making art together. Blue and red are the two that are in competition. The mission I've chosen to accept is rooted in basic color theory. Color theory is metaphor. In other words, if mixing blue and red pigments make purple on the canvas, then mixing blue and red factions can make purple in the streets. I see purple as peace, purple as a truce, purple as protective rather than destructive. After all, art and life are always about making choices. Being a teaching artist combines two of my greatest loves, art, visual, performing, literary, and art making. It also gives me the opportunity to inspire young people and helps me to help them find tools for making choices, whether those choices are on a canvas, inside of a lump of clay, or in how they move through the world.
The Teaching Artist Ally Award, given to a professional, not a teaching artist themselves, but who has demonstrated a commitment to supporting teaching artists.
The last 2 to 3 years in my life, I've been living with someone who is writing the story of his family's history. And it's made me think a lot about whose story gets told, who gets to tell it, whose story is silent, whose story is silenced. And send me back to thinking about my own life and what are the things that are the bedrock chapters of that life that are the sources of fuel, energy, and imagination for me. When I tell you what they are, you'll think it's a funny jumble of items, but hopefully their meaning will begin to emerge. So here they are: grapefruit, clippers, salt, a crumpled mockingbird. My father was a physician, a neurologist, and a very skilled diagnostician, but at about age 60, his medical knowledge hit a wall, and he realized he couldn't really diagnose in the way he wanted to because Western medicine just didn't tell the full story. He needed to learn from his Chinese colleagues what the practice of acupuncture understood about the pathways of pain for human bodies and the pathways of healing. So at 60, he decided he needed to become an acupuncturist. He ordered a crate of grapefruit because it turns out that the surface tension on a grapefruit is about that of human skin, and my mother wasn't volunteering. And for months, he practiced in the kitchen at the table to become an acupuncturist. It's always reminded me and stood for me as an example of a kind of radical humility that is part of being fully human and alive. My mother never drove anywhere without 2 pairs of clippers in the glove compartment, one for cutting down huge branches and one for cutting down only smaller branches. No matter where we went, down Highway 1 in California or among the then empty lots south of Market in San Francisco, she kept a weather eye out for surprising growth. She would say to my father, pull over, there's wild manzanita blooming. And my poor father would have to veer across 3 lines of traffic. Or she would say to me, quick, jump out of the car, take these shears, we need that anise. And it would be my job to go into the empty lot, bring back armloads of 6 feet tall anise spears because she was doing flowers for Glide Memorial Church. Those clippers are always for me the sign of this wild freestyle curiosity that saw manzanita or anise where most other people saw an empty lot. Salt comes from my daughter, who as a choreographer put together a dance called Fist of Salt, in which a lone female dancer atop a table, her arm extended with a fist of salt, rotated slowly in a cone of light, dropping the salt crystals till they pinged off the dance floor. Telling a story about both the beautiful physicality of the real and everyday world, but also the very fragile circle of relationships that we build, have to care for, could erase. The Mockingbird's a gift of my son's 8th grade year when he was writing an essay about explaining the title of the novel To Kill a Mockingbird. He brought me a draft, quite proud of it, and I took out my sharpened pencil and went right for it, tooth and claw, and began explaining about topic sentences and evidence and conclusions. And he wasn't having any of it. He basically kicked the tires on the Temple of English Composition and said that was boring, and preferred to write an essay which was a mosaic of the different quotes about mockingbirds that all, in his mind anyway, came together to make the argument. Took me the rest of the 3-day weekend to figure out that it hadn't been at all about topic sentences, but about learning how to resist and how to resist well. So here's what I've been thinking about in the last 4 months. Those qualities that I grew up on and loved, the humility, the curiosity, the connection, and the resistance, aren't really qualities. They're privileges. My father could order a whole box of needles and never be questioned. My mother could cut down branches and armloads of wildflowers in city lots and never be questioned, never asked for her driver's license. My children could dance atop tables or say no and resist and never be written up. So I have to rethink things, and I want to strike a bargain with you. I want to go back in this next year to my research and think about arts education, not so much as a discipline on its own, but as an arena in which to understand who decides whose human spirit gets to be how large. But I want you to come back in a year with all the evidence you can that the practice that you engage in daily with students in schools, on the airways, in the streets, changes the answer to that question. Thank you.
Music has always been a universal language that we shared together. At Music Haven, we would eat together, practice, play, be silly. We performed together. It was more than 80 of us, staff, teachers, students, you, until...
And breaking news in Connecticut.
Today, I signed an emergency order in response to the rapidly growing COVID-19 pandemic.
And that means closing all of New Haven schools starting tomorrow and at least through next week.
Governor Ned Milmont canceled school for the remainder of the academic year.
And the city feels that at this point, closing all the schools is the best step to prevent a possible spread.
For a second there, we were lost, confused, and home. But then...
Hi everybody. So I hope you're all doing well. And since it looks like we're going to be stuck inside, I wanted to find a fun way for us all to be able to stay in touch with our cello playing and practicing. So what I've done is I've set up a YouTube channel for all of our Music Haven cellists to upload little clips of our daily practicing.
And just like that, we were back in action. Practicing, playing, being silly, together.
Do we have enough gift cards collected to get them to the families that need them now, or do we need to purchase more?
More. That's exactly what Music Haven did. They understood that some of us needed more, and they went out of their way to provide it for us. Music is essential. You are essential.
Hi, my name is Mandy Jackson from Music Haven in New Haven, Connecticut. And our teaching artists at Music Haven, their relationships with our students and their families are not only essential to our work, they are the work. Our model is based on students working one-on-one over many years with the same teacher, in one-on-one lessons, in chamber groups, breaking bread together, planning for the future, sharing a love of music together. We have a professional string quartet, and each member of that quartet teaches and mentors a studio of 15 to 20 young musicians. And that work together and that community we build, that's how everything happens at Music Haven.
The Distinguished Service to the Field Award is given to a long-tenured artist educator who showcases a demonstrated history of impact on the field.
You go 1, 2 down, 3, 4 down, 5, 6, row, 7, 8, up and 1, 2, 3, 4, pull, 5, 6, 7, 8, pull.
Since this is my, I think, third year dancing with them, I got more of an experience than I did last year. I really enjoyed it. I have to say, my heart was beating a lot, just, you know, getting the nervousness out. But then it's like, once I start dancing, it's like all that goes away.
It's been amazing. This is our third year doing this, and it just gets better and better. Even students who obviously can't walk, they were dancing with their eyes, they were dancing with their fingers, they were dancing with their head. It was just such a phenomenal experience, and to give our children the ability to express themselves through art is so special. One thing that really struck me when the dance instructors got into wheelchairs and danced with our children in wheelchairs, that was such a heartwarming thing to see. You know, life is about memories, and this is a memory the kids are going to have and the parents are going to have, and I'm certainly going to have for the rest of our lives.
Hello, I'm Nai-Ni Chen. Thank you for being here today. I am so honored and humbled to be receiving the Distinguished Service to the Field Award, and I would like to express my appreciation to the Teaching Artists Association and the selecting committee for this recognition. Working with students has always been a rewarding experience for me. For the past 30 years, I'm fortunate to have many opportunities to work in various educational settings. Whether it is a lecture demonstration after main stage performance or a long-term residency program in the public school, we never stop our focus on the community we're in and how arts can serve the public. So I created numerous programs to serve a diverse community in my 30 years of journey. Our first assembly performance program, The Art of Chinese Dance, was created in 1990, and we took that program to nearly 100 schools each year during our busiest time. Later, Lincoln Center Institute commissioned an original work from me called Peach Flower Landscape, which was performed in more than 80 schools in New York City. And we have built our residency program in public schools to integrate dance with music, poetry, art, science, and social study. One of the most special is our 20 years of partnership with Dr. Orlando at Drury Academy in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Furthermore, I'm very proud of the new program we established 5 years ago in A. Harry Moore School in Jersey City, New Jersey. It is a school with children aged from 3 to 21 with multiple disabilities. It is so rewarding to see their smiling faces when they dance. They have gone beyond their limitation and the fear to dance with free spirit and confidence. For years, we have trained and developed many teaching artists to fulfill our mission. And one of the most important principles for us is that not only we need to enrich ourselves so we can offer our knowledge to the children to inspire them to dance, but also we can learn from them. In the classroom, they give you a direct response to the material you offer them. And through their action and words, we learned how they see and how they respond to the world that we bring them in. So their energy feeds back to us to make us a better teacher and a better human being. And each student is different. So we just need to pay attention to their individuality and listen and watch how they blossom in front of us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Margie Reese, Executive Director of the Wichita Falls Alliance for Arts and Culture. And you know, I really could have used a teaching artist to help me create this little video message for you today. But I'm proud to represent a core of teaching artists in Wichita Falls that's creative, dynamic, and committed. We want to say a special thank you now to the Lincoln Center team that has agreed to come down and work with our artists for the last 3 years to help us strengthen their own work. And so it is with pleasure that we accept and appreciate the acknowledgement of this award, and it is also my honor to advocate for the artists in Wichita Falls. For the last 4 years, we have built a strong cohort of artists who are willing to go wherever we ask them to go to work with children and with their families. So again, thank you for this acknowledgement. Come visit us with Wichita Falls. And the next time I promise you ask me to do this, I'll ask a teaching artist to help me.